to another episode of Entertainment Talk with Claypool, where we bring in guests and celebrities from the film, television, and music industries. If you have someone special that you would like to see on this show, by all means, reach out to us and share with us, whether that's a casting director, a producer, an actress, an actor, someone in the music industry, a studio director, whatever the case may be. The purpose of this show is to be informative for those in the film, television, and music industries. Today, we have a very special guest that I've been trying to have on this show for some time, but for various reasons, it's been delayed. But I would like for you to welcome my very special guest today, Gigi Erneta. And hopefully that is correctly pronounced, because I'm always bad about even English language. So Gigi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Yes, for Gigi Erneta is fine. But if you want to get fancy, I'm Argentinian. You can say Gigi Erneta. If you can roll your R's.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like you said earlier, it's okay for a Caucasian man.
A Caucasian. That's fine. You know, some people can roll their R's, some people can't. Doesn't matter what race you are.
Exactly. I've always wanted to learn the Spanish language and be able to roll R's like that. Hasn't been one of my gifts and talents that I've learned thus far, but it'd be great to learn it. One, for being in the film industry. Two, for living in Texas, pretty much. It's a great second language to have. So anyway, Welcome to the show. And how was your Thanksgiving holiday? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Everything's good. No complaints. You know, we're out of a strike. So
yeah, we were. Some of that we will bring up in our interview.
I'm telling you it got busy. I thought I was going to be eating turkey, but instead I was taping. So not complaining.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
So let's start with that, because that was one of the delays in us being able to bring you on the show. Same with I had a couple of other people in the film industry that were not able to come on the show until everything was resolved. So has the final vote actually taken place and everything has passed?
Everything has passed. There's a lot of complaining about the AI situation, which, you know, myself, they made us vote before the contract was actually released. It was a memorandum released. So I haven't gone through I know it's kind of a, got to have it passed so we can see what's in it. Figure out who that was. Anyway, so we as a collective haven't spent enough time in the contract. I'm going to go and see what I can find, regarding AI. But I think ultimately, Fran's plan was to make it so that we could adjust it as we go along, because AI is changing so much, so fast.
Oh yeah.
So I think that was the idea. So now we can talk about stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainties in definitely the film industry, television industry, but also in the music industries. And I think in industries, period, of any kind, AI is just for most of us, it's, unless you're in the AI field of work and that's what you do day in, day out, most of us are really just uneducated on it. So hopefully
I think the legalities in general, the legal parts of it in general, really weren't concrete before the beast was let out of the machine. You know, it's just like there's a lot of legal things in every field. And I think the quickest one right now, besides entertainment, is medical. So because they're talking about doing a lot of stuff with medicine, biomarkers, there's a lot going on. I think it's going to surprise people. Yeah. We were the guinea pigs.
I've heard of some very interesting things related to AI, but I don't know how much is fact and how much is fiction and how much is just rumor, So, but glad that you're able to get back to work. Are you seeing that the, productions are picking up now? There's a lot more casting calls, and I know that
there's a lot.
Awesome. So
there's a lot, and I think part of it. Well, it was several-fold, but I'll keep it to twofold. The first thing is, during the strike, we weren't allowed to talk about our projects. I mean, or you would be lashed in public. So that's part of the reason I wasn't able to come in. But the other thing is, as far as crewing up, there were a lot of shows that were already filming that just had to stop.
Yeah.
So I'm on one of those shows that was mid shooting, and then even the exact episode I was in, I was able to shoot, and within a week they shut it down. So I
Wow.
got my stuff done. So now they're going. So there's a couple of things. There are shows that were midstream that are now shooting, and they're trying to hurry up and pick up where they left off. And then
Yeah.
there's those that are coming. And those, mostly from what I'm seeing, everything is starting right up the beginning of January, which is amazing because usually nobody wants to work until February,
Yeah.
till
So in
after
January is where
Sundance. Yeah.
a lot of the work will begin in January, or are we going to be seeing a lot of
Absolutely.
new seasons, new episodes starting to stream in January, or is that a little bit is probably falling a little bit later, right? A few months
Yeah,
later, as far as
there's a lot because of the promotional aspect of it. People weren't able to promote. It did delay things that were supposed to come out because they couldn't really get they couldn't maximize it. They couldn't
right.
maximize the promoting of it. So some of them did delay, but in general, I would say production is going up. First week in January, a lot of people, that's what they're gearing. It's pretty crazy, actually, when you look at it like in a grid. It's oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? So
Yeah.
I'm excited because that means work for everybody.
Hello. Exactly. That
Yeah.
is exciting.
So
I'm glad that it's things have been resolved, and and hopefully to the betterment of the union and the actors and all cast and crew, all positions,
yeah,
because it takes an army, a team to make any production come to what you see on TV or on the big screen. So I want
yeah.
to kind of back up a little bit and start from where Gigi started from. How did she get into all this? So one of the things I was
Okay.
looking at online is that you were born in New York, and now you're in Texas, right? So
Well, let's see. Let's see. Do we want a map like Carmen San Diego? Where did Gigi go?
yeah, I was just wondering,
It's kind
your
of
path into
complex.
this, because you studied. I think you studied at the Royal Academy of Dance program,
Yeah.
and
So
you also studied comedy at the Second City, Los Angeles. So
yeah,
is that?
so let's see. How do I compress it? I started dancing when I was 2.
Oh
And
wow!
I was in New York. So, and I actually have ironically, my aunt sent me a DVD with old footage. I'm like, oh my gosh, I literally am a toddler. And yeah. So I started performing when I was very young. My parents moved to Houston, and basically, I also ice skated very, very young. But my parents moved me to Houston, and I danced with the Houston Ballet Company. I was actually picked
Okay,
up at 8 years old to perform with the
wow.
full,
Yeah, I
professional. So
used
I
to live
started,
in the Houston area, so
yeah.
I'm familiar with that organization. So
So yeah, so
that's
that's kind of
amazing.
where I guess really learned to perform. So many, I mean, the Jones Hall is huge. So
Yes.
as an 8-year-old child, when the curtains opened, it was like a lot of the other children that were in the scene with me were kind of freaking out. But I was just like, yeah, this is the best thing ever. And so my whole life changed with the Houston Ballet Company. I mean, they go in
That
there and they handpick who they're going to use. They go through every class and everything, and they're like looking and I was picked, and I just loved it. It was like I knew I was in my element. So from there, I studied with a Royal Academy of Dance. There was one teacher that taught Royal Academy of Dance in the program and in Texas, and that's how I
okay.
got involved with it. And I went as far as I could go when I think I was about 14 or 15. I found out my spine was crooked. And in the Royal
Oh,
Academy of Dance program, you're not allowed to go into their professional program with a crooked spine. They're very picky about that. So I was devastated. And
wow.
at the time, I was working sports medicine at the high school because I thought I was going to be a doctor. And that's when I found out about it. I was having back pain, and I was still growing. And yep, that was it. So then, I mean, right after that, I end up auditioning for a commercial, and I end up getting it. And it happens to be a McDonald's commercial.
Oh,
And that
wow.
happened.
And how old
The
are you then? Are you still a child at that age?
15, I was 15
15?
or 2016. I can't remember the exact. I have to go look. I think it was, yeah. And basically, yeah, I did my first union. Like I get thrown into it because I spoke Spanish and English. So
Oh,
I did 2 commercials. That's how I broke into it. My first audition, bam, booked the job. And that was kind of it. That's how that started. I kept dancing because I thought, well, I can't dance under the Royal Academy, but I can still audition and try for, I tried for like San Francisco Ballet Company. Like I tried getting, into their programs, but
well,
it didn't work out. So,
even with film and television, dance is in a lot of productions. So,
I still
did you ever
dance. Yeah.
do you ever audition and get cast for
I
any type
haven't
of?
had the opportunity. I auditioned for early on. I auditioned for musicals. I still skate and I still dance. So if the opportunity came to me, I would love to do a musical. I sing. I just didn't. I haven't had the opportunity yet. I would love to be on a television show that's a musical. Like
Oh
Glee
yeah.
or something. Like that would be amazing. And then I could use all the different facets of things that I've
Well,
learned
one
over the
thing for
years.
sure is what you set your mind to, you always achieve. So
Yeah,
I'm sure that
that's
in
that's
your
him.
career, yeah, I'm sure that in your career path that will come to pass. And what about music
So.
videos? Have you done any?
Oh yeah,
Nope,
early
nope.
on I did some music videos early on.
Okay,
Yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, not my thing, but yeah, I did a few. I did a
little
few.
different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
mean,
did
not
you
for
get in?
me because I can't sing that well. I wouldn't, I like the chorus aspect. I mean, I would do more if people were willing to listen, but I'm
Well,
gonna hang around in the background.
I did I did one music video, right? And they said, okay, we need you to sing the song. And I'm like, what? And I thought I can't sing. They said, no. They said,
Lip
we're
sync.
gonna,
Okay.
play the song. You've heard the song, and so I had, knew the words. And they said, you just need to pretend like you're singing it because it'll be their music, but it's going to look like you're singing it. I'm like, oh, okay. So when the video came out, I mean, it looked okay, but it was for my friends and my family. They were just cracking up because they knew I could not
Yeah,
sing at all because
that's
it
funny.
is different type of production. But I was just curious whether you had ever done that type of, before.
Yeah.
So also a little bit we haven't shared about Gigi is that Gigi has been in this industry for 3 decades now. Looking at her, you're like, how in the world could she be doing this for 3 decades? Well, now we know she started at 2 years old, and was in the a major production at 8 years old. So Gigi's been at this, like I said, for 3 years. I mean, 3 years, 30 years.
That'll
I'm going
work.
to share.
Just we'll tell
Right, right.
them.
So I'm going to just, she has been in some really major productions. She was in National Champions with other actors such as J.K. Simmons, Jeffrey Donovan. David. I think I'm pronouncing this wrong. Pronouncing it, yeah, I probably am going to pronounce this wrong. David Madonado, something like that. He was on my show 3 months ago, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Because
yeah,
we
and
did the
I
we did the
pronounced his name
purge
wrong then
together.
too.
Maldonado, Maldonado.
Maldonado. That's it.
Yeah, we were
Maldonado.
on the television show The Purge for 4 episodes. We did that show together. Dave
Oh, okay.
Maldonado. Yeah, and then we did, and then I see him like we cross paths all the time. But yeah, I did. I do a lot more television than I do film. I've done some pretty big movies, but the television thing is like that's where I'm at right now. So
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
enjoy going to the set every day and
One of the
yeah.
very successful films that you were a part of was Flags of My Father.
Mhm.
William, is that Devane
Yeah, William Devane played my father.
and
He
John
was yeah.
Snyder that you were a part of? That was a very successful production that you've been in. I see that you've also been. So you're very good at a reporter because I see that you're cast as a.
Well, I kind of was a reporter for a short time. I took a
Oh,
little
was
time
you?
out in the middle. Yeah, I did a little time out to go explore that. And I don't know. hesitate because I don't want to be like, I don't want you to get, what do they call it, thrown off the internet. But I worked for Alex Jones. I was a
Okay.
reporter for Alex Jones at InfoWars. People get really, upset with him. But the reality about Alex is he knows everything before it happens, and they call him a conspiracy theorist. So he's a conspiracy theorist for about 6 months, and then it becomes regular news. So,
Right.
yeah. So I did that for a while. And I also worked at Fox News in New York. I did writing for them. I'm still technically a freelance writer. I started in Fox News Latino, but I haven't written in a while. They merged me into their Fox News. So, I write stories about people overcoming things. And for some reason, I've been really blessed with allowing to write about God. That's kind of my thing.
Right.
I met Lauren Green, ironically, one time with Kevin Sorbo. We ended up all having dinner together in New York. Kevin and Sam were there, and Lauren was there. And it was just one of those things that was an impromptu thing. And yeah, it was pretty cool. That's another story. But yeah, so I write and I do news anyway. And so that's how I ended up in all these parts where they're like, we need a news reporter that's believable. I would just go there like, this is what I can do, right? So it's pretty fun. And I'll do it. I'll do it because for me, it keeps me sharp and I enjoy that. So I would love to have a show where I get to be a news reporter within the show. That would be like something that would be actually really good. But yeah.
With your earlier productions, I see that you were a stunt performer. So,
I still kind of do that.
so you got a very unique range of talent. So,
Right. Well, on Roswell, I'm on Roswell, the show. I did two. Okay. So I show up, I have a stunt double, which I can give you a picture of because it's pretty cool when you're like, hey, wait a minute, you're dressed just like me. Because a lot of times I would do my own thing, but her name was JoJo and she's a very nice lady. And that was fun. And it turned out when we shot the scene that it was easier for me to do my own thing. But out of courtesy, because I know stunt people, they're being paid to do stunts. So I asked her first to make sure, hey, are you okay with me doing this stunt? And it worked out okay. But that's only because I have years of doing my own stunts. And that comes from ice skating. Because I was a pair skater for a while and he would drop me. That's how I got into stunts. Yeah. Like we would do these maneuvers and I'm like, yeah.
a production called Poison, another one called Reasonable Doubt, Warrior. And these were some of the productions that you were actually a stunt performer. So,
yeah, I got thrown in the back of a car. That was the weirdest one. I was doubling somebody, and the guy, this big old lug, like carries me on his shoulder. So I'm like, he's walking with me on his shoulder, and then throws my body into the back of this car. It's supposed to be like one of the characters. And I was just like, am I really? And the worst part about it is there's a guy in his like tidy whities or whatever. I don't know. It was like, he had just gotten thrown in the car and he's like, and they throw me like on top of him, like just like a bag of potatoes, and then they throw the trunk down. It was the weirdest. That was one of the weirdest ones. Yeah. He was like dead, Yeah, he was like dead, supposedly. They had just thrown him in the back and he was like, face down in the trunk. So I'm moving around. Sorry, I'm making the camera upset. But yeah, it's like that, I guess. But yeah, he was a dead body, I guess. I don't know, had some weird. I've been harnessed down. I shot something in Waco for a scrubs company. And that one, I was just specifically hired for stunts on that one. And they harnessed me and I came out of the top of the building down like a Mission Impossible sort of thing. And I doubled 3 people for that. So, and that was in like 15 or 16. Yeah. And I'm open to I love doing stunts. I drive too. So that would be.
As far as like you drive as in crashing cars, flipping cars, or just speed or performance racing type driving?
No, I drive. Yeah, I wish. I love racing. It's a whole nother lifetime ago. We'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk about my speeding tickets. But yeah, I drive cars. I can slide them a little bit and then hit the mark. Just basic stuff. I mean, I don't want to roll cars on purpose anyway, because that would
Do
be.
you, so do you have the ability to do drifting?
I can, but I'm not going to brag about being like Fast and Furious. I'm not like that. I've been asked to drift before for a commercial audition, but I didn't get the job. So I off road. I have done, I did before the toll road in Austin became a toll road. They needed somebody to kind of show off the road. And because we were in a Jeep and I had to cross, it wasn't finished yet. So that was kind of off-roading too. I said, I don't know if this is a good idea. I have a family in the back. This isn't something I'd know. It's not protocol, but okay. Yeah. So we drove the toll roads. Yeah.
In being a stunt person, there's a lot of safety that goes into doing that particular shot, and that people don't see. So
right. Safety first, always.
Exactly. So you mentioned that you have a desire and interest to have your own series. Is this a action? Is it a drama, faith based? Tell us a little about what's in your mind for, or can you share that?
Yes. Right. Well, I wrote my second film. So I did my first movie. It came out in I finished it in 99. It came out in 2001 that I produced and wrote and everything. And that was a drama. It was called Crossed, and it's literally a lesson in making a movie for less than 50 grand. I did it on film too. So someday it will be used for that. I've only taught one class with that, but it's very useful. It's a very useful tool. Anyway, so I wrote a comedy, and that is written as a feature. We'll leave it at that. But it's an action comedy. As far as shows go, I have a couple of things that are written. I guess you want to say that. One of them is a host for a show, because I can host really well when it comes from the reporting background and all that. And I won't go into details because I can't. And then the other thing is I kind of have like a reality show. I'm not necessarily wanting to be in it. It's kind of the show that I'm in, The Curse, it's out now on Paramount Plus and Showtime, is a very dark comedy, but it's got a very real gritty vibe. The show that I've got has that. It's not as dark, but it has that grittiness to it, and it could be a hybrid reality scripted thing going. So, and I won't say anything about that one, but I've already reserved the website for it, and batting it around with another producer who's very interested. So we will see how that turns out. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to get people employed. I want actors to work. So I don't have to be in front of the camera all the time. I'm good with creating.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it being, an actor, an actress is you're a creator. And right. I find that a lot of people that I meet in the industries, when they're actors, actresses, they're also very creative in other areas. So yes. They just have a natural creativeness about them. But anyway, we're going to pick this back up. We're going to take a quick break for our sponsor, the Toasted Yolk Cafe in Cedar Park, yes. Texas.
The Toasted Yolk Cafe, located in Cedar Park, Texas, where Fridays, all our mimosas are 50% off all day long. Come and try one of our mimosas made from our newly introduced Toasted Yolk Champagne. Try the refreshing apple mimosa, the tangy and bright cranberry mimosa, the fruity grapefruit mimosa, the fresh orange juice mimosa. Cool yourself down with our famous strawberry orange mimosa, or try the tropical pineapple mimosa. And let's not forget our frozen mimosas. The #1 day of the week to take off work is Fridays. Come and enjoy breakfast, brunch, or lunch with 50% off a mimosa at the Toasted Yolk Cafe, located at 14105 Ronald Reagan Boulevard in Cedar Park, Texas. Hope to see you there soon.
You ready?
No.
It's a long drive. Don't think you're not going. I'm serious, George.
You fought hard. You can't win every battle. As long as you follow your heart, you can't lose.
Wait, what did you say, Mom?
I said, follow your heart.
Are you referring to Sidney Purcell, the Con Ag Chem Fam Farm lobbyist?
Sidney Purcell, a super generous guy, offered me all sorts of great stuff, like brand new kitchen appliances or a brand new hot tub like the lieutenant governor.
Mayor Sled, are you saying that Con Ag Chem made you an offer to run for office?
No, that's not what he said. He didn't say that.
Sidney made the offer.
This is the latest of a long list of infractions by this clinic.
There's been other issues?
We're still investigating, but a few sources tell me that they've been segregating the eggs.
Segregating how?
Sources are telling me they placed the eggs of black women in a separate fridge from the white ones.
A damaged fridge.
I'm assuming. What's even more alarming is I've gotten word that the clinic has been selling some of the women's eggs without the donor's consent.
Wait, what?
Elizabeth Ortega, I'd like you to meet Dr.
Margot Meyerson. I've read all your studies.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyway, I think we should move on.
Okay, just wait a sec. Liz has been working on something recently. Guess she can't be blamed if we took a peek.
Whatever I've done, I don't deserve to die.
She was a pillar of this community.
We all loved her.
She was a saint.
Have you ever purged before?
Yeah, once in college.
All right. All right, I'll talk to him.
Kelly.
There's a lot of history here you don't know about.
Paralyzing his company with discovery, countersuing, saying he's a bad father and that you want all parental rights. Most important, we put your boy on the stand.
I can't do that.
You'll have to. Judges have emotions like everybody else, and it's hard for them to side with a man who's cruel to his child.
You don't know Brad. He lives to fight. This is his element.
It's my element, I assure you.
There's still a chance that we could still lose.
The man's a bully. You want to stand up to him or not?
Escúchame. You need to stay focused in your schoolwork and on the football field and get that scholarship.
Okay.
Okay.
I got it, Mom.
¿Me entiendes?
Yes, Mommy, I got it.
You sure, mijo?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's bleed him dry.
I guess I could get used to beach living. Especially if it's with little old you.
Oh, I love you, Pumpkin.
Was it fun?
It was cold.
No, I mean your childhood.
It was perfect. I wouldn't change a thing. Now, let's go.
Let me walk close to thee.
So we are back with our guest, Gigi Erneta, or as Gigi says, it is
Gigi Erneta.
Erneta. See, I'm going to get those R's down eventually.
You got to roll that R.
Exactly. Yes, Gigi, again, is a very talented actress. She's a writer. She's pretty much anything in the industry I think she can do. So as we continue, I was curious, in the productions that you've been involved in, there's a lot of different genres. I mean, drama and comedy and action and sci-fi, horror, faith-based. Do you have two questions related to that. One, do you tend to be cast in more in one type of those genres than others? And two, what is your favorite genre to be cast in or be a part of?
Okay. Well, early on, I did do a lot of horror, and God just got a hold of me, and it's just not my thing. But for me, the main thing is I pray about everything I do. So
awesome.
I would say I've been in some horror films since that happened, but I'm not participating in any violence or gore or anything like that. I won't give to that area. Just I do believe that what you put power into, you can create. I do believe that, right? So I'm not going to put my energy into that aspect of it. I think my favorite thing to do would be action, and I have to tell you, I had a blast on Veep. I did 3 episodes of Veep, and that was a blast. So I would love to do more comedy. I really enjoyed being at Second City, Los Angeles. I went through the whole program. They're not there anymore because COVID did kind of wreaked havoc on both coasts. I'm not sure. And it's not just Second City. I think UCB went through some changes as well. So, but everything is online now. So, you know, for your viewers who are interested in comedy, you can take online classes now for the big guys, you know, and really learn. So I would say if it was up to me, I would say more comedy. I love action because I like doing stunts and stuff like that. But I have been cast in a lot of the darker stuff early on in my career. And now I'm kind of slowly migrating into more of the family arena, which makes me really happy. I would prefer to bring faith into the secular. I feel like I have been really blessed. I've done a few faith-based films, but I feel like reaching mass audiences, we have to be able to create stories that people will be drawn to bring them into the house, right? And I've got some really beautiful people in my life that did Jesus Revolution, Mercy Me's movie, you know, like really good, solid stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to work with them again and do something good.
I saw Jesus Revolution, and that is an amazing, powerful film. Love it. Just like Passion of the Christ. I mean, powerful film that will it'll definitely touch your soul. But you and me have had conversations, or a conversation previously about our faith, and I know that the series Breaking Strongholds, by chance, have anything further along there? Because I was really hoping that you get cast in that series.
I tried the first season to get in there, but it didn't manifest. I filled out their forms and did all that. But I did have a breakthrough with Vindication. And so I got on that series, and I found out we got picked up for the back half. That's on PureFlix and Redeem TV. And my character on that is Jared O'Flaherty. I mean, this character is a lot of fun. And so I'm on that show, and I'm excited to see what I get to do the rest of the season.
So do you do most of your, the productions that you're cast in? Do you do most of those in California, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas? Where's most of your?
There is no mostly.
There is no mostly?
No, there is no mostly. I've been really blessed with New Mexico, which is where I also have a residency, is in New Mexico. And I've been very blessed there. But I work in California, Louisiana, Atlanta. I was asked to work in Florida, but I couldn't make that happen because of the scheduling. And let's see where else. I've worked in Alabama, Mississippi, and New York, of course, because that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
But Atlanta's real busy. New Mexico's really busy. California's always busy. Texas is trying. Texas is trying. Texas is trying.
It's we've had this conversation with some of the other guests and celebrities on the show. Is that because I'm here in the Austin area, and we see it like it's starting to etch its way in more and more. But we're just all hungry for some just a lot more quality productions. I know that there's a major studio being built in Bastrop. I think there's a major studio being built in San Marcos, which are suburbs of the Austin area. So, what do you think is holding
Houston?
What's holding us back?
There's also one in Houston. I think there's a new one in Fort Worth. There's rumors of one in North Texas, like way up north in the Panhandle. I mean, there's a lot of buzzing around, and with our new incentives, like, it should be good, right? The problem is we had a strike right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I was working in Texas a lot until 2017 when they pulled the incentives.
But they got some incentives back again, though, right?
Yes. I think the idea is to go more long term, which is what I've been complaining about for years. Every 2 years, someone will come in and maybe possibly, pull the plug out, and then it's gone, right? But it looks like they're trying for a longer span, which is what New Mexico did. They have longer incentives so people can come and grow businesses, right? So I am an I-35 warrior. I am up and down. Before we had the Zooming auditions and being able to do things online, I would literally go from Austin to Dallas to Houston to San Antonio. I was on the freeway all the time, and New Mexico. And now, now it's the other way, New Mexico back down to Texas. But at least now it's employment and not auditioning.
Yeah, there's with the vastness of the internet and the vastness of streaming now, there's a vast need of talent, both in cast and crew. Some of the people that I've had on the show, and you may have seen this, I don't know, but you're a whole lot more seasoned than me, and it seems like I used to audition, for, several dozen roles, and I'd get asked for a callback on a percentage of those. Now it seems like I have to audition for a whole lot more for the same number of callbacks, which hasn't, the ratio used to be like this, and now it's like this. So is there just a lot more, because everything is anybody can submit? Is it because
I mean, I think I ought to go into this a little bit, because I know a lot of actors ask, they always think they have to go to LA. Not opposed to it. I think it's really important to go there and see how hard it really is, because when you're in a lot of other markets, you kind of lay back and go, okay, I'm just going to ride this wave, right? But there you have to hustle. Whether you're in New York or Los Angeles, you have to hustle. It won't come to you, right? So I highly recommend either coast for not only that, but for getting in-person auditions. I mean, getting in-person classes, right? Yeah. Being in the classroom with these teachers that have been doing this for years, who have taught the celebrities, who get them there, the contacts and networking, it's so important. If you can find that on an online class in LA, I would say do it, because you're going to network with people who could potentially be your future boss, right?
Exactly.
But I think what's happened, to answer your question, is you have LA and New York competing for your food.
Yeah.
Right? Because now they have access to all the markets in between as well. And so you have actors who are hungry, who know how to hustle, who, when they get an audition, they're going to fine tune that audition. They're going to fine tune it and get it exactly right before they send it. And these are people who, when you're in a classroom with these heavy hitters, you have to level up. So now there's always lazy actors in every market, but I'm saying there's competition. There's definitely competition.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, a little bit of a different world, but it's just part of the industry, And as the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Which, to your point, stay plugged in with somebody that is an acting coach, whether it's local or online. I think every major city has, some major, somewhat very powerful schools or classes, so to speak. But online is, again, it's what it's became.
We have so much more access to things, Clay, than we ever did before. Ever. Oh, yeah. And as I'm gonna intercede as one of my mentors, Sammy Malouf, who is a Christian stuntman, says, it's perfect practice that makes perfect. It's perfect practice. Because for years you hear practice makes perfect. But if you're practicing cruddy, you're going to have a cruddy response, right? So Perfect practice makes perfect. Yeah. So get in with a good teacher is my point.
I like that.
Yeah.
So,
which, by the way, I teach too.
Do you have an online course?
What I offer is and I'm going to put it out there. I'm very picky about who I take on. I take on projects.
Okay.
So students who are very serious and committed, I have a very small group of people I work with. I do online, it's private. I get their materials in order and I help them get to where they need to go. But it's like, I'm very selective. I didn't want to do an open classroom because my schedule is crazy. But with my students, we can communicate constantly. And I offer that to a select few. So yeah, if you're interested, hit me up on my website.
Okay. And her website is posted there after the sponsor break in her.
Which is my name, which is easy enough to remember.
There you go. So with your history and your years in this industry, a couple of questions is what would you say? Well, what would you say is one of the? I always like to hear some funny stories. So, being on set, something that really was just funny, so hilarious that happened on set that most of our actually all of us listeners wouldn't even know about.
Okay, I have one that just came right into my head, which I don't even know. It's random because I haven't thought about this for a while. But one time I was filming on a job where we were in a small, like the set was supposed to be, I was supposed to be Coast Guard, right? So it was supposed to be like on a ship. All right. But the actual set was like this little bitty shack. Okay. So we're in this little bitty shack and we've got all the crew is like, we're crammed in there. Right. And I'm supposed to be serious. I'm like, I've got the microphone and I'm calling out for an SOS thing. Right. The director is on the outside in Video Village where we have all the, where the feed of the signal is going. For those who don't know, Video Village is generally where the producers, directors hang out and they get the feed of what's going on. So they're seeing what's in the camera. All of a sudden, I'm getting ready to do my line and a bat flies down flies down. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep character and I'm going, I'm doing my line and I'm going like this, right? But the director can't see the bat because the bat is just like, if you see this shot here, right? It's like this, right? So you don't know what's going on. So all of a sudden I'm hearing, cut, Erneta, what's going on in there? And he's like yelling at me and I'm like, sir, there's a bat. It's like the funniest thing because the crew is in there going like this too. We're all trying to dodge a bat. So that's probably the funniest thing because he had no idea what I was doing in there. I'm just like,
well, that's it's funny, but it's also kind of scary,
Yeah, it was.
Most of us are kind of fearful of bats, because
and that was ironically with that director. That was not my only bat encounter. Now that I think about it. I did another movie in Indiana.
So you can add that to your credentials. You're a bat.
Right. Right. So I ended up in a cave filming something in Indiana and there were bats in there. Of course, by then I wasn't as freaked out after my first experience with the bat. So yeah, that's it. That's it on my,
you became
my funny, scary. Yeah.
That's funny. So, as we get ready to close,
I've acted around some things. I've acted around some funny things.
Well, I imagine
I've got more, but I'll stop there.
Imagine after 30 years, there's and when you're on set, everyone likes to have a good time, and so there's always just some interesting conversations, to say the least. So, as we get ready to wrap up here, last thing is, what could you share with those that are currently in the profession as far as film, television? They're in the profession. They haven't made it to where they want to be at, or those that are, coming out of high school, coming out of college, and this is the industry they know that they want to be in. What words of encouragement, knowledge can you share? A golden nugget that might be just something that they can hang on to?
Well, just being at this a long time, I'm not like Brad Pitt yet, right? So I'm going to start with life happens. It doesn't matter when you decide to start. You should follow what's inside. God planted it in your heart, or you wouldn't have this desire. So that's where I start. I would say don't give up and never listen to people who are going to be negative influences on you and tell you can't do it. Use those negative things to thrust you forward. If it's in your heart, there's a reason for that. You need to explore it. And I would say the biggest lesson I've had is to stay away from negativity in general, because it's very hard to stay focused on anything you're doing if you have that constant barrage of negative thoughts, negative programming. You have to be able to meditate and pray and find your center. And then from there, you can jump and you can do it. It's a matter of finding your time with your creator in order to stay in that positive. God is love and positivity. He's not. The other side is the one that's coming at the negative. So if you just really focus on staying in where God wants you, then you're going to find it. And you should never give up. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you look at the whole world of filmmaking, there are characters from toddlers to seniors. There's no reason why you can't fill a job. There are shoes for you to fill. And if you want to produce and direct, there's no limits. It's the only limiter is your mind. So that's my words of encouragement is stay around positive people that elevate you, that see your potential. Get in with a good mentor, a good coach. Get into a classroom. If you don't fit into that classroom, move on to the next one. You're not going to know unless you get in there, right? And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Fear is not, it's not where you're going to be elevated. You have to really push forward.
The mind is the, how you direct your mind and your thoughts is very crucial in success in life, I think. And so those are really good words of wisdom. Yes. And, I think that people, if you take that to heart, follow those words of wisdom, I think it'll help you be successful. And like she said, there is no right time, wrong time, too late in life to get into this industry. There's several people that don't start until they're, 40s, 50s before they even get into it. So.
And life happens. And it's good for life to happen because you can take all of those pieces and pour it into your work. So no matter what happens.
Because part of acting is that, and especially if you're, more mature, older, I guess, you have a whole lot more life experiences that you can bring to characters because you can pull off of that incident, that memory, that time in your life that you can bring to that because it's, in acting, it's not about you. It's about, you
the other person.
being able to bring life into that character. And you have what it takes because we have just exposure, experience, things, life happens.
Well, and I had a great teacher. I studied at Playhouse West. That's where I studied the drama half. Robert Carnegie told me that early on. He said, you need to get more life experience. You're just not living. And so if you're sheltered, or you're not experiencing things, it's harder to find those moments when you're doing your work. So you really can use everything in your acting.
Yep. So now I'm going to audition for a role as a host for a talk show. So now I got experience.
There you go. There you go.
Gigi, I appreciate you being on the show. You're a great guest. You got a great heart, great spirit, and hopefully someday,
thank you for having me.
The near future, we can connect again, possibly on my show. Again, hopefully that you have time to stop by the Toasted Yolk Cafe sometime and dine with us again. But pleasure having you on the show. And I always like to close with this saying, which is, great it is to dream the dream when you stand in youth by the starry stream. But greater it is to fight life through and say at the end, the dream is true. So keep pursuing your dreams, keep pursuing your goals. Life happens, but life is always good. Thank you for joining us here on Entertainment Talk with Claypool.